We got it to go. We are live. Okay. Chris's camera is like 50-50. Sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's not. So if he's making a funny face, that doesn't mean that anything's wrong. It's just that he got frozen. What's up, Stars fans, indoor soccer fans, MASL fans, soccer fans, whoever's watching? What's going on? We're back with our show, The Stars Align, with none other than the MASL Goalkeeper of the Year, Chris Toth, for a whopping 3 or 4?
You know. 4.
2.
Yeah, 2.
4-time Goalkeeper of the Year. Unbelievable. So welcome to the show. Before we even start talking about Chris and all these unbelievable accomplishments, if you see in the top corner over there, there's a $50 deposit QR code. That's so you can get your seat guaranteed locked in for showwear this season. Put down your $50, pick your seat, make sure you know exactly where you are, lock it in now, and make sure you get the seat you want for the season that's coming up ahead. You're not going to want to miss it, so click on that link. And before we go any further, this Sunday, the 11th, we'll be down at the Tacoma Soccer Center for our first summer event of the year, the Fan Fest, which if you were at last year's was a lot of fun. So come on down. Doors open at 4 o'clock. We'll be in there. You can meet the players. You'll be able to watch an inner squad scrimmage. And then 2 weeks from now, we're going to have another one. So just make sure you get yourself in the door nice and early and get yourself going. Jesus, buenos dias. So, Chris, MASL Goalie of the Year, talk through it. I mean, you've won a few now. When award season comes around, do you feel like you know you're going to get it? Do you feel like you're anxious that you might not get it? What's the feeling going into award season? Do you feel like, yeah, this year I put in the work, I'm going to win it? Or what was the vibe?
Well, I feel like I could ask you the same question, but I don't know. It's just one of those things, you know. You just kind of work and you play the games and you try to win as many as you can. And you know, for me, I'm not playing for that. I'm playing to try to win and then do something in the playoffs and obviously try to win a championship, which is very, very, very difficult. And so when results are there and, you know, you're winning games, you know, sometimes those things just come with it. And I was feeling really good. I was training really hard. And I thought I had a couple, you know, fantastic games in there. I think we went on like an 11-game win streak for a moment. And we were playing really good defense. Defenders were playing in good spots. Midfielders were defending. Targets, you were out. So we had 2 different targets, you know, that fans aren't used to seeing, other teams aren't used to seeing. So we played, you know, defense kind of first and transitioned and got goals out of that. And they were a huge help for me as well. You know, it's not just me. It's a lot of the team as well. But I know that if I perform how I know I can perform, I can really help on the back end. And, you know, I felt good. And, you know, the award came with it. And I felt that I was deserving of it. And I thought there were some other goalkeepers that had really good seasons as well. And, you know, but it is what it is. And, you know, I ended up getting it. But, yeah, I'm really happy about it. And, yeah.
Do you ever feel like, you know, I'll sell myself down the river on this one. When award season comes around, do you ever have that feeling, and this happens to me, where you feel like, oh, if I don't get it, that's wrong. They've made a mistake. Or if I don't win, because listen, the 2 years that I won the MASL MVP, I thought in my head, I don't think there's any way in which I can't win it. But somehow I was like always worried that a conspiracy was happening. Like, I'm not going to win. They're going to find a way to not give it to me. Do you ever get that feeling like I've been putting in so much work and somehow maybe it's not going to fall down for me?
You know, I did. The 2 that I won in San Diego, I felt like I really earned those. My stats are really high, or however way you want to look at it, high or low for a goalkeeper, right? In terms of goals against and high and save percentage. And those years I thought, yeah, you know, I feel like I'm feeling I've played really well. I think, I deserve it. But, nowadays I'm not, I don't know. You feel like you do, but there was, qualifiers for Beach Soccer World Cup this past year. And I thought I was, you know, very good. And we won the final 5-0 against Mexico. And I was like, man, I'm going to get this, the golden gloves for my second time. And they called me up. They said, Chris, come with us. And and they call you up to get the MVP. And I'm going, okay, cool. And then they tell me, Chris, go back and, they giving it to the Mexico goalkeeper. So, I don't know if anything's really a lock, because anything can happen. But yeah, we all get those feelings of, I feel like I'm deserving of it. But you never really know what can happen.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that's like the one in CONCACAF was crazy. I mean, I thought the only thing I can think of, and again, fans, please like ask questions about this because we talk about this internally every once in a while. Never during competition, always after. Um, it was one of those ones where I felt like, and we've talked about this before, you and I, where you go into an international competition and maybe the organizing committee doesn't want the awards to fall solely onto one team. So they spread the love around a little bit to make it seem like, I don't know, everyone was there. And in CONCACAF, I felt like they'd gotten it just completely wrong. To be honest with you, I couldn't even in my head imagine how wrong they would have gotten it. For you to have won a final 5-0, which is unheard of in
Never,
finals, right? Like you never
never.
win finals 5-0. And get a shutout in beach soccer, which is so rare. And have the goalie pick up 5 goals against him, which I believe was more than you gave up almost in the entire tournament.
Yeah, it was. I didn't give up many. I'd have to look back at that, but I had a really, really good tournament. Probably the best tournament I ever have. Even when I won the Golden Gloves in my first one, I mean, I thought I was very good. But that goalkeeper in Mexico was good as well. I mean, he scored
Yeah,
put him in the final, and I think they kind of did that. But the point is, yeah, you have a feeling, but now, I just anything can
yeah,
happen.
you don't know. You
You
don't
know.
know. Sandy Holdner, are any stars players playing in the USA versus Mexico game? Great question. I know for sure a couple are, but I'm not allowed to. I don't want to spill the beans on who they are because I'm not organizing that game and I don't want to steal their thunder. So I know for sure at least two are, at least two. And then Wayne Dan wants to know, Chris, where do you buy your cowboy boots?
Oh, Boot Barn.
Boot Barn. Okay, so Wayne, check it out. Wayne's got to be at least a size 13, 14 or something. He's going to have some big feet. There's no way.
Yeah, you
So
can't
we'll
go.
have to see if they make cowboy boots that big. Okay, well, talking about this and talking a little bit about the award time and the season, you said we were playing great. We were on a roll. Talk a little bit about the end of the season, how hard that was for, I guess, all of us, and kind of what went into that last weekend.
The playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we right, and that was a tough game, and there was that little chance of us potentially getting the third seed, right? Weren't we there in points a little bit, and we needed Chihuahua to.
We got the third seed. We could have gotten the second seed.
Yeah. And we had a back-to-back, right? We played Ontario, I think, the day after San
Yeah.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went to overtime, and we kind of a point slipped or whatever. So that was kind of tough. Like we had the back-to-back, and we had just gotten off games with Chihuahua, and we knew we were going to meet them, but we didn't know the format, right? Are we going to play there first, then home second, or vice versa? So they were kind of on our mind, and the team was hot. We were playing really good ball, and we played Chihuahua for the third time at home. We were already the first American team to beat Chihuahua twice, back to back, and
Yeah.
then played them in the playoffs, and was another, crazy game. Won that game at home, and immediately after the game had to get on a flight to go to Chihuahua. And I think we ended up getting there around, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say like maybe, I don't know, 6 a.m., something like that. I can't remember, but it was early. And
Yeah, it was early in the morning, and then we had to get ourselves there and figure out where we were going to stay, and the hotel wasn't quite ready for us. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we were in the airport, and that stuff takes a toll on you. And you get to Chihuahua, and you're there, and you just feel terrible. You just played a crazy defending champions now, who are going home and have pressure on them to win at home. And we're just trying to rest our bodies the best we can, and try to prepare for an arena that, well, a field that you don't see.
Yeah.
And that team, I would love to see their record overall on that field.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be 95,
Yeah,
98%
lost
plus.
3 or 4 games maximum on that field
Yeah.
within 4 years, right? They've been in the league
Yeah.
4 years. Um, we hadn't played there all season. We've played there in the past. I'm not making excuses, but man, it's difficult, and with the format of the playoffs, and getting down there and having to do a Friday Sunday game, uh,
Yeah.
with traveling to another country, not going to like Texas or to California. You're dealing with customs. But anyways, it was a really, really tough match. We knew that we could have, we just we wanted to win that first game, down there, and just try to like kind of slipped away. We started trying to prepare for the mini game, which the mini game is crazy. I mean,
It's a
anything can happen.
crapshoot, and
And
I felt like that game was conditioned 5 seconds in, they scored a goal 5 seconds in, and now the whole game is conditioned. You
yeah,
gotta change the way you were building on, and what do you do now?
yeah. But you know what? I have to give a lot of credit to Chihuahua. I mean, when they're they bring it, they're a whole different beast. Really, really good team. It doesn't matter what field they play on. I mean, they are very good. They beat Kansas City in the final. They beat San Diego in the mini game. That team is really good, and there's a reason why they're back-to-back champions. But I'll just say they didn't beat us on a normal field.
Yeah, I agree. We beat them 3 times at home. Listen, going to the comments here. Number 1, talking about showwear in the back-to-back, against Chihuahua at home and how loud it was. Yeah, it was rocking, that place. I mean, I'm gonna ask you about it in a second, so I'm not gonna spoil it, but the last minute, last second tying situation was unbelievable. I don't think I've ever heard showwear that loud. And then John Lyerla says, talk about how big Stinson and Mijatovic were to last season. And I think, I mean, I wasn't playing, and so I was coaching, but I mean, they were huge to me. And Chris, I think you'll share the sentiment that both of those players, came in and just immediately elevated everything we were doing with a level of quality that really jumped us. I mean, it was huge, I thought, to the team. But talk about, Stinson and Mijatovic and maybe the impact they had.
Yeah, I've played with Justin, with my 3 years in Ontario. Justin's an excellent, excellent player. Great 1v1 player. Does things that I think other players can't do, just with like his balance on the ball. You think you have the ball, and he's like falling down on one hand's on the ground, and he still is holding the ball on his feet, and he somehow gets by you. You may think you might get by him, and he does the same. He'll put it ground again, and he'll slide tackle and get the ball off of you. Great shot, really good passer, smart, intelligent player on the field. Kind of like the whole package. I think with more years under the belt, like he's only going to get better. In Ontario, he was great. There were times where he was super hot, and I don't know. I think last year, just in Tacoma when he came, there was just something. I don't know what it was. I was even talking to Steph about it. Like, dude, I don't know. I've seen Justin play, but something about him right now. I mean, he's playing at a higher level. So he was huge for us, and we got him after Steph. Um,
We lost him. We lost you. I'll keep on going until his connection comes back in. But when Stefan first came, we'd seen what Stefan could do, playing against him. Um, and I think, are you back now? We'd seen what Stefan could do, and I think what we saw from Stefan, in my opinion, is if he had been able to put that together over a season, I think he was in contention for easily Defender of the Year and maybe discussions around possibly getting his name into MVP conversations. I'm talking about Steph, Chris, because you
Yeah.
cut out there for a second. And I was just going to say, had Stefan been able to replicate maybe what he did with us over the whole season, I think he's Defender of the Year lock, and I think he's in the conversation for MVP. I mean, I think we played 10 games or 11 games that he played for us. No, because he had to miss the 2 Ontario games. So I think he only played 10 or 9. And I think he had what, 4 game winners, 5 game winners. It
Yeah.
was something crazy.
Yeah.
And it's really important to say with Steph, because it's not something that was talked about a lot. He was contributing offensively, but it's also really important to say that defensively, he was doing an incredible job back there of shutting people down, getting himself in positions where he can be big, and making himself a really big, powerful defender back there. And I think what I saw, because I wasn't playing with them a lot, and when I did play with them, I was injured. I wasn't even close to myself, was they both wanted to be coached. Like, they wanted to learn how to get better. And I think what I saw from my perspective was whatever we were putting down, they were picking right up and trying to implement it. And they trusted me and our staff in what we were saying enough to do exactly what we asked. I mean, the restart we scored against in San Diego to win the game was Steph was a decoy, and then Sancho was a decoy, and Stinson was going to come through the middle. And I remember drawing it up, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm asking them to do something that's not easy. And most times players, when you draw something up that's a little complicated, they'll be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And they just were like, okay, I'll do it. Okay. And we scored, and they both looked at each other like, holy shit, holy crap, I can't believe we scored that. But they were picking it up and putting it down, and they were unbelievable. So I can't imagine anybody having a better record in indoor soccer than those two coming into a back end of a season and picking up a 11 game win streak. It doesn't usually work that way, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, going back to Stefan, I mean, dude, when he came in, a lot of us have played against Stefan. I didn't really know him personally, but knew of him, knew that he was a real, quality player. And then when he came in and I got to see it up close and personal, at training, I was like, damn, okay, this guy's pretty impressive. Really good shot with both feet. Really good, he's a good passer too. But you're right. I mean, in the back, I felt like he was more offensively dangerous as a defender than he was at target for Ontario.
Yeah.
Just because he can go at you 1v1. He'll pass and move and slide through and get a ball, and he'll tuck it. He's got that finishing quality. But he also has got that defensive presence as well in the back. He's a big body. You can't really post up on the guy. He's going to poke at the ball. He knows how to get out of tight situations. But he was dynamite for us. And, I think that's what kind of inspired Justin maybe a bit when, getting there. He's like, man, Steph's going off. Like, let me join the party, kind of like, let me get in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, from there, dude, I mean, Steph took off even in TST. In TST, he had a great competition, great tournament. And, I just see him keep going, staying hot.
Yeah. I think he's got some natural ability and skills and natural. I mean, listen, he's a 6'4" monster, like he can run, and he's big guy. That helps, especially in a game that's so reduced, so I think, reduced in size, being that size and being able to move, it's huge. So I think he's going to get better and better. And it was really fun coaching both of them, because they were both easy to work with on the field, very easy to work with. We'd tell them something, they would do it immediately, and they were really interested in learning why. So they were awesome. So they were a huge part of that run. And now I'm going to go into, we'll talk a little bit about some specific moments in that season, but maybe talk about that game against Chihuahua and that play. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, what we're referencing, first off, again, if you just joined the show, that QR code is to reserve your seat at the Showware for this year's season tickets. So it's a $50 deposit. And Sunday we will be at TSC, Tacoma Soccer Center. Doors open at 4, so make sure you're there. If you don't know what we're talking about the game at home against Chihuahua, where with 10 seconds to go in the game?
It was 13. So, but yeah, whatever. Yeah.
13 seconds to go in the game. There's a free kick in our defensive final, the final end of our end.
Roman fouled.
Roman fouled, and Chihuahua calls a timeout with 13 seconds to go in the game. We go back to our bench. We're down by a goal, and here we go. And then talk us through it.
Yeah, I just, I've kind of thought about it, but I was like, situation to try this and just run over straight to you. I go, Nick, listen, they messed up. If Reynoso goes to the bench side, which he's going to, that's where I would stand. What we're going to do is try to funnel the ball back to him just a little bit, cut the line, do this, make the ball 100% go back there. I'm going to run as soon as the ball is kicked straight to the bench and have Juice run out. And I remember you doing, one of these, like thinking about doing the math. And it was like, all right, let's try it. And
yeah,
dude, whistle blows. I waited. The guy plays the ball. I'm off to a sprint. Juice runs out. I'm just, I could have jogged. I guess that's the rule, but it's a good thing I sprinted because in video replay, you see me in there.
Yeah.
But, I'm just sprinting, looking at the bench. And right when I get to the bench, I'm like, oh, my God, it's going to work. And Juice runs out, takes the ball, goes down and scores. I was going nuts. I remember running to you going, Nick, like, are you serious? This just happened? And ran over, gave Juice a crazy hug. And, I mean, Giannoni Martinez is a great coach. You never seen that before. Nobody's ever seen it. My dad said, Chris, I've never seen any play like this ever in my life.
I think it was a moment where the eruption of people at Showware was louder than anything I think I've ever heard in that building. And it wasn't one of our biggest nights in terms of attendance. It wasn't a 6,000 person night. But the people that were there, I think, felt that they'd seen something special. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just witnessed. And honestly, I'm on the bench and we're trying to hide Jamel because he's wearing the 6th attacker jersey. And so I'm telling Evan, stand in front of their bench so that he can't see Jamel. And then I told Luis, open the door, but don't look like you're going to open the door. So we're trying to play this thing off. And when Jamel goes out, and I mean, you couldn't have timed it any better than how Jamel did. He literally picks it off of Reynoso's toe. And he scores. I think the entire bench and all the players on the bench kind of all turned to each other. And it took us a second to even, we couldn't even believe what we'd just seen. It actually worked. It was like, I can't believe that happened. So I think it was one of the craziest moments, probably the craziest moment I've ever experienced in an indoor soccer game, from an idea and it actually working. Because we have ideas like that sometimes. We'll be like, hey, what if we did that? And it doesn't usually work, or it doesn't work exactly like you want it to. And so for it to work, for us to come back and then to win in shootouts and have that game be like that, I think if I was an indoor soccer fan and I'd come to that game, that was my first game, I'd be like, I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm going to watch this game for the rest of my life. And Wayne Dan says we got to see something special just about every home game. There were some crazy home games last year, and there was an unbelievable drama. But that one for me tops almost all of them. And all 3 games against Chihuahua, all 3 of them, actually, the playoff game we won handedly, right? Or we won by a goal or 2.
We came back. We were losing in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, but we won at the end. It was like we won and there was no overtime.
There was no overtime, no, but we won.
Yeah.
We were losing. We were down every time to Chihuahua and we came back.
Yeah. But the first 2 to go to overtime, into shootouts, it was crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
to me,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
crazy.
The first one we played them, we were losing kind of bad, and we
Yeah,
played that ball to Canale, and he spun the
Sancho turned. Yeah,
first time and scored with, I don't know, in a minute, left or something like that, and ended up winning that game. But yeah, we've had some crazy plays that we have talked about. There was one against Harrisburg, and Pat Healy came up after us,
yeah,
to us. And he's like, dude, I never even thought about that. Like, good job knowing
yeah,
and you saw other teams doing that, and a lot of
yeah,
people think that we kind of took something, the play that San Diego did against us off the glass. Um, that's not something, teams have been using that offensively, right? Using the change off the boards to a
yeah. Keeper comes out the far gate, defender leaves on the near gate. Yeah,
used a lot. That's not something new. And the way they did that when Xavier, rolled the ball to
yeah,
serve, started hitting off the glass, that was just for them to buy, some seconds off the clock. We did this on a defensive, play.
yeah.
You don't ever see that. You don't ever see a goalkeeper run when it's their ball and you go and you intercept. That was something that
And
happened.
999 out of 1,000, you lose that game because you're already losing anyway. It doesn't work out. And even if the guy gets there, it ends in nothing and you don't win it. So for it to work out, I think was unbelievable and crazy.
Yeah.
For me, that was the moment of the year. And then the shootout was really good too. I mean, the shootout went all the way. Lane's on there commenting, but the shootout was even crazier because you got called for a handball just outside the box.
Yeah.
It goes to a penalty. Luis, who'd been sitting there cold the whole game,
Yeah.
steps up and Cold Stone saves the penalty, which allows Justin to go in and get the game winner on the head to head. It was nuts. And you'd already saved, I think, the first one, right? Or the second one.
I had saved two, and then that
You
was
saved two,
yeah.
but we missed one of them.
Yeah, I think it was Nani that missed.
Nani missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. I mean, that was one of those ones that was like, if you happened to come to that game, that was tops.
If you've seen everything now. There's nothing else to see in an indoor game after that game. Like,
Yeah.
I never seen, you never seen, guys have been playing for, over 15 years, and fans, my dad, now a fan watching the games, been involved with indoor for, 40 years, almost 50 years now. And he's like, I've never seen any of this stuff before, and it's just kind of like evolving and just these rules. And it's like, man, like, what's going on? It's, if you know the game, you're like, wow, like that was amazing.
I think honestly it'll trigger a rule change is what I think, but whatever. We did it before the rule changed. That's fine. It's not my problem.
I mean, we follow hockey's rules so much that I don't know if you do change the rule. I don't know. But if they do, they do. If they don't, I think, you know what? It's exciting.
It is exciting. As a fan, I mean, I think that, like I said, I think most fans at first probably thought, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is the goalkeeper sprinting off the field? I don't understand. And then all of a sudden, it kind of made sense there for a second. But incredible moments. And we're looking to make many, many more in this upcoming season. Hopefully not that crazy and that dire. Hopefully we can just take care of it in regular time and we don't have to do stuff like that. But we're on our toes. We're always thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Personal highlight for you. Is there like a game that you felt was that your game that you really were focused and dialed in on?
For this season?
Yeah, this last season. Was there a game that you felt like, yeah, that was the game that I had to be there and that was my game?
I felt like and some feeling it in the beginning, like game that I think it,
I think it cut out. But what he was going to say is there's a very tangible moment with Chris where he's like feeling, I've known him a long time, and there's a moment at which you kind of know that he is feeling really good about himself. And in beach soccer, there's a moment at which he shoots the ball and you can tell that he's feeling good about himself. And an indoor, it's like a confidence thing that there's a certain moment at which he feels like he's really, really on a high. And it takes sometimes as a player, it takes us a while to get there. Some players can start the season super hot. Some players need a couple of games to warm themselves up. I think we saw last year with Frank Caillou, where he started the season off not amazingly in terms of his production and then ended the season on a huge high. I was just telling them about kind of feeling like how you feel and where you feel. And I think where you were going with it is that it took you a few games to really feel like you were in your zone.
Am I frozen again, or am I?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. That's the game that you went down, and I went, oh boy, here we go. I don't know what this, I think maybe the score was tied. Maybe it was early, right? It was when that happened. You went down first quarter, and that was the
It's
game
cutting
against
out,
Kansas
Chris. It's
City.
really cutting out
I
a
played
lot.
really well, and we did, you know, and that was another. All right, 1 second.
He's talking about the Kansas City game that I got injured in. That's where he's going. I could hear half the words, but let's see if we can hear you now. Well, we lost him. Anyway, while we're in the frozen, if you look in this top corner over here, we've got a QR code for our $50 season ticket seat deposits. If you click on that, it'll take you to a place that you can pick your seats and make sure that you get your deposit in. You're going to want the best seats in the house to go watch all the plays. And this Sunday, you can actually do this in person. If you can't do it right here on the phone, you can do it in person with our staff on Sunday at the Tacoma Soccer Center. Doors open at 4. And please, please, please come down and come watch the boys. Come watch us play. We're going to have a nice little inner squad. You'll get to meet some new players. Some young players that are from the area that are going to come and start being part of our program. And Wayne Dan is absolutely right. And I think he's going to where you were going, Chris, which is the boys stepped up big when I got hurt in KC. You were talking about the game in KC.
I'm back, right? I'm good?
Yeah, you're back now.
There shouldn't be any more interruptions. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Kansas City game is where it was at. That's kind of where, you know, you go into Kansas City, it's, you know, maybe the best place to play in the league. Everybody loves playing there. They bring everybody. All the fans are there. It's normally packed. Great commentary. You know, great team. Long time organization. So for me, I was pumped up to play, and I needed that game. And then when you went down, I was like, oh, here we go. It's going to be a defensive battle, you know, because I don't know how many we're going to be able to score, you know, without obviously having you. And so if we can keep this tight, we'll have a chance. And I think we were up, and then they ended up coming back on us, and we came back at the end, I believe, in the fourth quarter to tie it up. And then we went through overtime, and then we went into shootouts. And I think I ended up saving 3 of them. I saved one on Sosa, one on Marquez, and Sosa missed one, and I saved one, so that's 3. And I think
that was the 3 because I think Sosa came up and he hit the first one. It got saved. Then he came up later and hit it again.
Yeah, and then we played. I think that was a back-to-back, right? No break in between, and went to St. Louis, and I was just coming off that. And sometimes goalies, they're better back-to-back, is what I found out. You know, you're still kind of like living in that moment of the last game, and you still have like that good feeling. You know, a week doesn't go by. You get to kind of just like, all right, I played really well last night. You know, I'm kind of still feeling it. So here we go again. And in St. Louis, I thought I played another sharp game. And after that, that's kind of when I felt like I kind of took off.
And then Lane's referencing the goal you scored on a free kick that we drew up for you to score against Empire at home to tie the game before Kyle Rivers runs down and scores with 15 seconds to go in the game. That was a crazy moment too, because that was one where originally we had you placed here as a decoy. And then I thought, you know what? they're not going to think that we're ever going to do a double cut to Chris. And then you ended up shooting it. And I think it hits Mijatovic somewhere in the chest on he's laying down. It goes underneath somewhere.
Yeah. So the original design was Alex back to me, and me cut it back or across to Juice.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying. They're not going to believe that Chris is going to shoot. I mean, come on. Anyway,
Jamel was leading the team in points. I thought it was like they're going to think it's going to Jamel. Let's go this way.
have an open lane. They're going to step to Jamel, and I'm just going to, yeah. Anyway, well, we'll think about that one for next season. But no, it was a good call. It was a good change right there, and Juice played a good ball across, and I said, all right, this one's got to go, and Stefan came up and put his hand out, and like the ball was
Yeah,
on.
caught his
Was,
arm here. Yeah.
I mean, I hit it, with some pace, and it was on frame. I don't know, it was going, so I don't know. But when he did that, it just took that deflection, kind of went through Tyler's legs and went under Gomez, and the rest is. That was a huge moment because Ontario kind of had us there, and there wasn't much time. But no, it was a great. That's why you hold on to your timeouts. You hold on to your moments like that, and it changed the game. They thought they were going to win. All of a sudden, you tie it. All of a sudden, now we've won.
Yeah. I think that's a really tough one. The timeouts conversation. I've had this with so many coaches and so many fans and so many people about how to use your timeouts, because it's such a tricky one, because sometimes things will happen in a game and a team will go on a little run and everyone's like, well, you have to throw your timeout now. And I'm always a little bit hesitant, because I'm always like, yeah, you're going to really want that at the end of the game when you've got that one moment, right? That one, we got it against San Diego. That was the timeout. We got it again. That was the play. It literally got drawn up. Free kick out here, 45 seconds ago, or a minute and 10 to go, whatever it was. Boom, timeout. And if you don't have it, you feel like an idiot. But you also kind of feel like an idiot sometimes when you go, I should have called a timeout when they scored their second goal on that run. I might have cut the run in half, could have killed some momentum. It's a really tricky one. But it's a tricky one. But you do want those at the end, and those are big moments. Wayne Dan is right. That game in St. Louis, we were coaching. I was really worried because the travel between KC and St. Louis is hard. You finish the game late. We got food. We jumped in the car. We drove for 5 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you get there, it's 4 a.m, 3 a.m. Everyone's exhausted. And then you've got to get up and play. And I think it was like a 2 p.m. game.
It was earlier. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just thinking, man, this is going to be so tough. And that game started. And within the first 10 minutes, I was sure it was going to be a blowout. We ran out the gates flying. And actually, they went up first, I believe.
No, I think we went up and they tied, and then we went up.
I remember them scoring early up, and then we started going, and then we went up big.
It was like 4-1 or 5-1 at halftime, and then they made a little run in the second half, and it got close. I think we were up like 5-4, and then after that, we took care of it.
Yeah. So that was a crazy game too. Well, let's talk about some other players from our organization. Tell me a player that you think might have been an unsung hero from last year that didn't get a lot of didn't get a lot of the limelight, or didn't get a lot of the the Mijatovic game-winning goals, but like somebody that you think deserves recognition that didn't get a ton of it.
Yeah, well, I could probably name a couple for sure. I'll start with Nani. Nani for me, I mean, I never really knew Nani, didn't ever really see Nani play. And I know that you and Evan and Beck, you guys, this guy Nani is really good. And so I was excited to see him play. And I think it was like 1 or 2 practices in preseason, hit his ankle. And he was out for some time.
Yeah.
A month and a half. And then he kind of got a chance, and it may have even been in Kansas City is kind of when you played him again, because it just kind of took him a little time to back. But when he was fit and healthy, dude, the guy can play. Really young, great passer. I mean, dude, he's a really good player with a bright future. I just saw that one. I had that one in mind too. Kyle Rivers, that dude works and works and works and works, and he's he's putting in extra time after practice, trying to get better. And dude, the guy is lightning quick. But we have so many of those guys. Dude, Tyler John is another one. The guy is a
Yeah,
work.
Matt threw out there Luis. I mean,
Dude,
Luis
yeah.
Luis came in big moments in the season and big moments in games when you got a blue card or something. And even the game that we played San Diego that we flew all of you guys there the night before, for him to come in that moment, and he played really well.
Dude, yeah, Luis is very, very good. And I didn't know Luis until getting there. Um, great, great, great person off the field and really, really good goalie. I was impressed with him from the moment I got there. I was like, damn, this kid can play. He's good. Like he's
Yeah.
got some range. He comes out strong. He cuts angles really well. He's got soft, good hands. He catches the ball because that's one thing in the league you don't see so much
Yeah.
of, catching the ball, and he can catch the ball. And it was really, really good to work with him, and show him, try to teach him what, some things of the game that maybe he didn't think about. And then him also pushing me, I got this younger guy in the net that's, trying to play as well. And I've been
Yeah.
there and how that feels. And so, I gotta make sure I'm on my game because this guy, he wants to earn minutes. But no, Luis, 1,000, 100%. He's one of those guys. I would say even.
I think if you think about it, our team is kind of filled with those guys. We've got I could tell a story on each of them. I mean, I think just as an example, our man down unit, those 5 guys, there were 5 guys for 4 positions
Mhm.
that was probably the best man down unit we've ever had in the Stars. And that's Logan, Tyler, Matty Brame, Adrian, and Kyle Rivers. And those 5 guys, between the 4 of them, or between 5 guys for 4 spots, man, those guys were tough to play against. And I still remember that goal they scored against Utica, which was so cool to
Oh,
watch those guys go nuts.
it was Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian scored it. No,
Yeah, I think
Rivers scores it. Adrian decks the guy. Adrian hits Nilton, I think.
second. Yeah,
Whatever. One of those guys scores. But everyone was involved. Logan knocked it long. Rivers got the ball, fouled the guy. Then all of a sudden, Adrian gets up, fouls the other guy, or decks the other guy. They get up again. The ball gets played, and then I think Rivers scores. And then watching them just jump in and hug was like, that's pretty cool. Matty Brame is another one who doesn't get mentioned a lot, who I
yeah.
think when he wasn't getting suspended for games for too many blue cards
Or
was doing an amazing job.
yeah, he leads the finalist, I believe, right?
I think he does. I think Rivers is up there for his
Yeah.
for the lateness at practices, but I think Matty Brame, in terms of blue cards, for sure took the cake.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys. A lot of guys. Adrian Correa had an unbelievable season last year, where he was at one point in the season, I think he was the most difficult to play against a midfielder in the league, and then he gets hurt, right? And it's just so hard. But
yeah. Adrian was fantastic for us, and when he went down, it was like, dude, we just lost like our best player right now. This guy is our lockdown midfield. You could put Adrian anywhere.
yeah,
He's
and
been
he likes it
very
too, where when you play against a player that's dominant at whatever, and he's always coming up to me, Nick, let me mark that guy. I'll take him. And I'm like, Adrian. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, that guy won't touch the ball. And you know who did that actually was Seb. Seb did that against Marco Fabian.
Yeah.
In that last game, Marco had scored 2 or 3 goals early on, and Seb was like, Nick, give me a chance. And he was frustrating and bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, chest pumping him and getting him in his face. So we've got a lot of those guys that kind of put in those shifts, and there's so many to mention. I mean, I think our vibe is those guys putting in shifts, no nonsense shifts. Chase and Corey are always putting in shifts. Alex putting in shifts on tough plays. Roman coming in and marking some really tough targets and putting in a shift on those guys. Willie Spur putting in a shift offensively, keeping the ball, wiggling his way out of places that nobody should ever get out of. Sancho scoring those big goals. So there's a story to tell on every single player. But maybe talk about a player that you're looking forward to seeing this year, that maybe you're looking forward to seeing a level jump from them. Like we've seen it from, we saw Adrian's last year. We saw his level jump. Like who's the next one you think is going to burst onto the scene?
I was going to say Adrian as well, just because he got hurt and we didn't get to use him through the playoffs. So I'm
Yeah.
interested in the hunger that he has going forward, right? Which
Yeah.
I know is very, very competitive, right?
Yeah.
Uh, that's what all these guys are. They're all super competitive, and you give them a job, and they're going to do that job to the best of their ability, which is
Yeah.
normally very successful. Somebody that I want to see, I would love to see two guys. For me, Tyler John, this guy is an animal, and dude, he could be. We just got to get him to finish, and he stays after practice with me a lot, and he's
Yeah.
shooting. But dude, when that guy finds that little tuck, dude, that guy's going to be explosive. He is explosive, but explosive in the points. He's going to get
Yeah.
goals, all that. And then the other's Logan. Like, dude, Logan's got all the tools, right? And he made a big jump this year. Had a little knock towards the playoffs. Trying to get back. Got back. Dude, big body, solid defender. Still, trying to learn the game more. Which, dude, we all are still learning the game. But
Yeah.
dude, once Logan gets that down a little bit more, and his finishing, because he's lightning, dude. He's so
Yeah.
fast. I remember there was one ball, I forget against who, but we did the little wraparound, and I couldn't even find, like, he outran the ball, and it's
Yeah.
like he's so fast.
Well, he's Logan's always been, and Tyler this year, both those guys, uh, they've always had huge opportunities in games to put games away. And for just whatever reason, the combination doesn't quite work. And then both those guys, knowing them, they wear that mistake for days. Like they're like frustrated for days that they couldn't finish it. I remember against Ontario, we had an amazing play where Logan got played in. He goes 1v1 with the goalie from the halfway line because once he gets going, you just can't catch him. And he tried to swing his hips and he missed it off the post. Ball comes down and they score. And I remember just Logan's face just being like the world's over. And Tyler, how many times did Tyler beat his guy on the outside, right? Hit the ball across, hit the inside of the post, and have it ricochet right back to where he was standing. I mean, that
Yeah,
was like that happened 7 times, 8 times. And those
yeah,
are two guys who have some tools and
yeah.
have some weapons.
And Logan watches film. He watches all the games. He's got a
Yeah.
notebook writing down notes. He's like, dude, it's pretty impressive, and the guy wants it, and
Yeah.
it keeps doing.
We found out from Logan last year that he has his own little notebook in which he writes down his performance after a game and after practices and things on the things he did well and maybe the things he should do better. And he writes down all the plays in which he interacted with the ball and what did he do and what could he have done. And he's got a little notebook and he's got a catalog to every single one. So it was really impressive. And that's for me, like as a veteran coach, player, whatever, when you see somebody that's willing to put in the work like that to get better, they're going to get better.
Yeah.
I think the hard part, I was having this discussion with somebody today is, I was actually having it with Lane today, is the hardest players to be around are the ones who think they're very, very good when they're really maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But the players who are very good that are still thinking they're not amazing, those are the ones that are going to be good because they're thinking, I can get so much better at this one thing. And you're like, dude, you're already up here. So if you really want to get better, you're going to go, through the ceiling. The ones that are hard to work at are where they're like, dude, I'm so good. I'm so good. And you're like, yeah, but you could go 10 levels above.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm happy right here.
Yeah.
So fortunately for us in the Stars, I think we've got a lot of guys that are more like the second one than are like the first one, where they really want to get better. They want to learn. I mean, when we're doing video, I know I go long and everyone's looking at me like, well, let's wait till this guy shuts up. But everyone is like soaking in what we're talking about. And most of the times when I ask the question of like, what should we be doing here? The guys know the answer.
Yeah.
I usually will look for the guy that I know doesn't have the answer, and I'll ask him to see what happens. Yeah, Willie, what should happen here? And Willie's like, damn it, I'm just hoping he wouldn't even know I was here. But yeah, I think I would say for me, Tyler John is on the cusp of
a breakout.
Yeah, he's on the cusp of doing something different with his combination of power, athleticism, and desire. Like that guy works. and he's working sometimes a construction job, and then he comes to training, and then it's like this guy is through the roof. And he got really unlucky last year with a couple bad injuries, and got had some tough stuff. But those are the ones I'm really looking forward to too. So, well, listen, I'm gonna cap it off here and recap it. The fans will get to celebrate with Chris. We're gonna do something special for your goalkeeper of the year, which you had to sit there and watch me get my MASL MVP last year, and I could see in your face you looking over like, oh, it's the Nick Perera show. So this year we'll make it the Chris Toth show, and we'll try to get you out there in the front and have Lane bring down your award and do something big here, and get all the fans to celebrate that moment with you, because we never as players actually get to celebrate that moment with the fans. It's a very rare thing for us to get to celebrate that. So it's really cool to be able to do it with your home fans. Yeah, we're looking forward to start announcing some games. And Sandy asked earlier about the USA-Mexico game. I have it on good authority. There'll be more than one USA-Mexico game in the next 3-4 months. And I have it on good authority that there will be a few players playing in those games. So I can't say who yet because I don't want to take anyone's thunder, but at least a couple of Stars players will be participating in those games. And Lane saying what Tyler John did against Nani at TST frustrated him to another level. Tyler John had Nani. He's not talking about our Nani.
Yeah.
He's talking about Nani.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ran. I think he even said, come beat me down the side. And Nani tried to beat him down the side, and Tyler took the ball from him. We were all laughing like, oh, you're going to beat Tyler for speed? Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got some special players. And again, those of you that have been Stars fans or are not Stars fans at all and just like to watch indoor soccer, man, we're lucky. We've got some pretty cool people in our organization and some amazing players, which, by the way, we're going to start announcing our new signings or our re-signings very soon here. So stay tuned to catch up news on who's coming back, players you'd love to see, that you love to see. And don't miss Sunday's game. Again, third plug of the show. Top right corner, $50 deposit locks in your seat, and make sure that you can get yourself a season ticket at the Stars games. And if you can't get it here on the website, no problem. Come down on Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Tacoma Soccer Center. We're going to have an inner squad. You can meet all the players, talk to everybody. You can lock in your seat right then and there. And again, Matt Butke and all of you guys that support us so much, Wayne, Sandy, and Dale, and all of you guys that just keep sending us messages and supporting us every single day. Man, it's cool to be a Stars player. It's cool to be part of that family. And I know, speaking to Chris and many other players, that once they come and play in Tacoma, it's very hard for them to think about playing against Tacoma. So we've got a cool thing cooking, and I'm really excited for everybody to see what we have coming on this Sunday, and obviously beyond. And we'll be having very regular games. We're looking to have a weekend every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we'll be at the Soccer Center doing something, getting you content with the fans, getting games in together, starting our trainings early, because we started last year really early as well. And I want to say
October.
End of July.
Yeah,
end of July. But you were saying
we started like official preseason early.
Yeah, we started very early last year. We had 5 full weeks of preseason, I believe, which is the first time ever. And again, that's credit to our ownership that was willing to put up a little extra cash to make sure that everybody could come into market early and get training. And I think it really showed. So we're excited to build on what we did last year. Obviously, having the goalkeeper of the year, the MASL 4-time goalkeeper of the year. It's going to be like the San Diego Sockers. Not your 1-time champion, not your 2-time champion. The 4-time goalkeeper of the year. Having the goalkeeper of the year coming back for the Stars is a huge, huge add, and it makes our team that much more difficult to beat. I will say, I told you before you came that if you came, not only would we win games, but you yourself would have record seasons. And you were, and I'm going to quote this, and you can tell the people it's true or not. Early on in the year, you were very frustrated with how many goals you were giving up. And you were very concerned at how many goals were being given up on our team.
I was. I mean, it had to be said. The first game we played San Diego, I think we lost 11-7, 11-6. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a
I
lot.
remember you telling me, Nick, my goals against average is just destroyed. Like I'm getting killed.
I mean, whatever. It was getting killed, but it is what it is, and we got better. We found a way, and
We
we
did. We got
we
much better.
we identified the problem. I brought you statistics straight to the
We did. We
boss.
had a lot of data, and listen, Chris Toth with too much time on his hands is a dangerous person to have around because he pulls out data and numbers that you're not even thinking about. So no, listen, signing, you coming to us was more than just a goalkeeper. It's you're obviously part of something bigger because you bring such a different perspective. Obviously, the Stars being coached by a forward, we have one very clear thing we're looking at. But having somebody there, and obviously we had Danny for so long that brought such an interesting and unique defensive perspective that we always need. And obviously Evan McNeely being a defender, he brings that side of it too. But we've got a really cool thing cooking, and we can't wait to be out at. I can't wait to be out at Showware, running around with our fans and putting on a show. So thanks for coming on, Chris. We hope to see you guys all on Sunday. We're going to start having these way more regularly so we can get in front of you guys and bring you content and talk. And by the way, we announced the re-signing today of Nani Mendoza. So Nani's coming back for next year, which is a big one. Huge product. When we found him, or when he came to the Stars, we knew that he was a special player, but we didn't know how his ability was going to translate immediately. Sometimes it takes players a little bit of time. And I think last year we saw him do a massive uptick in what he could do. And it was started in KC. And then he went down to Dallas and he had that special play where he scooped the ball on a power play and smoked a volley. And then we went to Mesquite, and on the power play, he dribbled 3 guys and laid it off. And we scored the power play. Stinson scores on the power play to tie the game. So, I mean, he's got the ability to do some really special stuff. And I think we're going to see him get better and better.
Yeah.
I'm looking for him to get more confident, believe in himself a bit more, that he can do that kind of stuff regularly. But he's a special player. And we're going to announce more of our players as we get through it. So come down on Sunday, come meet the lads. And any parting words, Chris?
Thanks for having me. This has been fun. I'm excited to get back. Not just yet. I'm still enjoying summer here in San Diego, but looking forward to the new season when it happens and getting back with the boys. And like you said, the vibes in Tacoma with the team, I mean, it's high level. And with the fans there, how crazy this last season was with those crazy games. The vibe was amazing. It felt like that place was packed. And we look forward to seeing all you guys out there again.
All right, from the Stars, go Stars. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you soon. Sunday, 4 p.m. Doors open at the Tacoma Soccer Center. Sunday, the 11th of August, like this Sunday. We'll see you guys there at 4 o'clock, so you can lock in your season tickets if you didn't already click the link or the QR code in the corner. So thanks again, guys, and go Stars.